Benfica are officially the top football academy in 2025. English teams, nowhere to be seen in the top 20. We'll see why later in this video. My name's Sam Williams. Welcome back to my channel. And I am a career strategist for football coaches. I run the Coach Accelerator Masterclass, which is an online community for football coaches across the world who want to work in the professional game and in academies. So for the second time in a row, Benfica have been at number one for the top football academy in the world. And this is according to CIES Observatory Football. So who are CIES Football Observatory? They are a research group based in Neuchâtel, Switzerland. They are part of the International Center for Sports Studies, an independent academic institution created in partnership with FIFA, the University of Neuchâtel, and the Swiss Football Association. And they analyze football through data. And today we are talking about their youth academy productivity scores. So how are the scores marked? Two ways. First way, the number of active academy graduates playing professionally, and second way, the level of quality of the leagues that they're playing in. And Benfica topped this list again with 93 active players across those leagues. Second, Barcelona, and then there was River Plate in third and Ajax coming in fourth. We've seen this with Benfica and a number of recent players, of course, who have come through and are currently playing, like João Neves, who is at PSG, also João Felix and Ruben Diaz and Goncalo Ramos. We can clearly see that they are having a sustainable business model of selling, reinvesting, repeating for their youth development. And we have to, of course, mention Barcelona before we go to speak about the English academies. And Barcelona, as we saw recently against Olympiacos in the 6-1 win, they had 7 of their academy players in the starting 11. And English teams, well, firstly, there has been an improvement from 2024 where there were no English academies in the top 50 of this index. Man City were 51st, but this year now we have 5 English academies in the top 100, where last year we just had 4. So who do we have this year? We have Man City, who are now 21st, just outside the top 20. Arsenal at 48. We have Chelsea at 50th. We have Man United at 56 and Liverpool at 75th. We, of course, have seen with City the likes of Foden, Palmer, Rico Lewis, Oscar Bob, who have been playing at the top level. But it still begs the question as to why, of this top 100, just 5%, just 5% of those are English academies, and we are 6th in terms of country, whereas the South American countries, especially Argentina and Brazil, who take the top 1 and 2 places, they complete 26% of that 100. Yeah, so let's have a look at some of the reasons why, and then afterwards what we need to focus on and really think about as coaches. So here's the 5 things. Firstly, quality of competition. We know, of course, that the jump between under 18s, under 21s to first team, especially Premier League, is absolutely enormous, and the stakes are so high for managers that you can see they rarely take a risk for those who are 17, 18 years of age. It's incredibly difficult. The number 2, of course, the financial safety nets. So as we know, English clubs, we are a lot richer than some of our counterparts. And so a mid-table Premier League team, for example, could spend 30 million on a 25-year-old rather than taking time to develop a 17-year-old. That just isn't the case for a Benfica or for a River Plate to do that. So their model does depend a lot more on that productivity. Then looking at the development environment. So we see, of course, in England, we've got the under-21s, leagues and competitions. But in the likes of Portugal, Croatia, Spain, we see that the young players compete in senior leagues. Of course, we see Barcelona, B, who are competing in the second division in Spain. You also have Benfica B, who are again competing in the second division of the Portuguese league. So they could, for example, by the time they get to 21, have 80 senior games, whereas the counterparts in England may have 10, for example, because they've just played in competitions like the EFL Trophy, maybe have 1 or 2 Premier League opportunities. Number 4 is identity and coaching continuity. So we've seen, of course, with clubs like Benfica, Ajax, Barcelona, they have long-standing, clear identity which filters through their academies, and that goes right the way through to the first team. Whereas here within the English academies, it can be very challenging for that player pathway, especially with the change around of managers. Then 5th, global recruitment versus the local development. Now, English clubs, as we know, world-class facilities, and they are able to bring in world-class talent from younger ages, from 16 years of age, to come into their youth teams going forward, and that can dilute the local identity. Whereas at Benfica, your Sportings, Ajax, Barcelona, they of course can focus heavily on those homegrown regional talent and players. So those are the 5 reasons, but what does that mean for us as coaches, and how can we help our players? The first thing, we must really scrutinize our practices. How game realistic are these practices that we are supporting players with, to give them an even better opportunity to be able to break through that glass ceiling? Then 2, how much are we stretching our players out of their comfort zone? How much are we allowing them to make mistakes over and over again as they go through their youth development phase, so that they can have the opportunity, once they get through to 16, 17, 18, to have that confidence, to have that boldness to try things on the pitch and really have their super strength shine. And then 3, above all, connection with the players is critical, because it's so difficult, as we know, for players in English academies to get through. So we need to make sure they have a fantastic time with us in these academies, so that when they do ultimately leave, the majority of them, they still have had a fantastic experience. What do you think as a coach? Is there something that we are missing in English academies when we consider this CIES Football Observatory report? Thank you once again for taking time to listen. Look forward to seeing what you'll share in the comments, and thank you for subscribing. See you next time.